Hey, welcome to another Milepost here on the V-Twin Life. V-Twin Life is brought to you by a few great companies. One being Crash Inc. Clothing. You can find them out of Oregon. Great company, specialized in clothes, doing work on bikes now. You can check them out at crashinclothing.com. They got a lot of great stuff. Hey, head on over there. Maybe they got something you like. And we can't forget Wild Ass. You like pounding miles, you like riding, you want to be in comfort? Hey, maybe strap a Wild Ass under your ass and ride with an air cushion and be comfortable for hours. And can't forget Custom Dynamics, leading the industry in lighting LED technology. Man, these guys got some great stuff. So head on over to Custom Dynamics and check it out. Now, let's get to another milepost of the V-Twin Life.
Okay, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Milepost 140 this lovely Sunday before the Thanksgiving weekend. Tonight we got the legendary Mr. Frank Orlando, a good friend of mine, guy that I've been honored to become friends with over the years. We've logged some good miles, we've had some good laughs, some good times, and it's always fun getting to catch up with Frank. So, hey, welcome back, Frank, and thanks for coming in and hanging out this Sunday evening.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I don't know about
Heck yeah, it's been fun.
though. Yeah.
Hey, we've had a lot of fun on the roads and highways and all the adventures and the fun we've had and the friendship we built. It's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. It's been fun.
It has been. Plus, we're both from Northwest, both from Washington, so
Go Washington.
We got that going.
That's right. I'm not from Seattle either.
That's right. Me neither. Not from Seattle. Neither of us are. We're not even close to Seattle.
I'm further.
Actually, you know what? We're probably about equal distance, time-wise, maybe to get there.
Yeah, because of your traffic, but yeah, mine's miles, yours is traffic.
Right. This is true. And well, you got the passes too. You got to get over. Those mountain passes that we got over here.
Yeah, right now it could take me 8 hours to get there because I'd have to go around to get around the snow. But, yeah.
This is true.
Of course, right now it'll take me longer than that because I'm a little bit disabled. But.
Yeah, you're kind of you're on the sidelines right now of riding. You're a little gimped up.
Yeah, but it'll be better here soon. So
this is true.
Yeah,
very true. But no, you had quite the adventure this summer. I mean, I've had a lot of guys on here that have ridden the Hoka Motorcycle Challenge, but I think in the aspect of some people, like from where it started this year, you had that little bit of extra difficulties. You had to literally go diagonally completely across the continent to get to the starting line. So, you had a lot more miles than just what the ride itself is.
It's misleading because we all had about the same miles because my trip home was much shorter than most people's too. So
that's very true.
So my whole trip ended up being 16,200 miles, but I kind of went a roundabout way. I live in the Northwest. Yakima, Washington is my hometown. I left here and being a mile monster, I wanted to go visit a couple of the boys that we have that we ride for. Two of them were technically on the way, with air quotes. I only have one available right now, but Turbo lives in Irvine, California. So I did a saddle soar from here to Irvine to visit Turbo. And then from Turbo's, I went to San Antonio to visit Gavin the goat. So I kind of went a roundabout way. I didn't take the direct route to get to Daytona. Unfortunately, on the way to Turbo's, I got stupid sick. I thought I had COVID. I pulled up into Turbo's driveway and texted his mom and saying, I don't want to come in the house. I think I might have COVID. I just felt like crap. She had a COVID test. She came out and met me in the driveway, and my COVID test was negative. So she let me come in and sleep on the living room floor, and on an airbed anyway. And then tested again the next morning. It was still negative. So we did our stuff. I still didn't feel great, but the whole day that we had planned with Turbo, he took me to a reptile museum. We did some fun stuff. Had lunch at a fantastic restaurant owned by Turbo's dad's family. Just had a great brunch, had some fun. And then in the evening, it was like, I need to get out of the LA area before traffic really hits, because I knew I wanted to do Munburn of sorts. It was only 1,300 miles to get to San Antonio. So I knew I wanted to do that the next day. So I left their house and ended up going to Indio, California. I got a hotel, and it was hot, man. It was like 110, 108 degrees by the time I got to Indio. So I slept in a hotel there, and left bright and early the next morning, still just feeling like crap. So by the time I got to, I stopped first at Michael Lamb, Wrong Ways, work in Houston. That might have been after. I think that was after Gavin's. So it's hard to remember. But when I got to Gavin's house, I told Jessica, Gavin's mom, it's like, man, I don't feel good. I tested again on the way there if I had COVID, and still negative. So I went into Gavin's house. And it's like, hi, Gavin. He's laying on the couch. I don't want to come close to you. I just, yeah, thanks, Michael. It was after the goat. I can't see any of the chat. I don't know if I'm supposed to. So
I think if you click the comments tab, you can see it.
Like chat with everyone in the studio. Sorry, we'll do this.
Yeah, I believe you can now.
Comments. There it is. Yay, there everybody is. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, we got Wrong Way, Salty Badger. We got Mr.
Dylan
Brad,
Brad.
Iowa Hog Rider, who's still recovering from his incident, but getting better from his accident. And
yeah, I
got
see
some people joining and hanging out tonight.
Well, hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit not tech savvy, so I had to get that out of the way. But anyway, at Gavin's house, again, it's like one of the things I do as a mile monster when I'm riding for pretty much anywhere. If I'm passing by anything of note, I try to collect stuff for the boys that I ride for. So by the time I got to Gavin's, I had a bag full of stuff. So I wanted to make sure that he had the shirts and hats or magnets or whatever it was that I had for him. But it was a quick little, like, Jessica showed me around the house and, hey, Gavin, see you later. Nice to see you type thing. Didn't even stay 10 minutes, probably 15 minutes maybe at Gavin's house.
I think Dylan has us great. The Sultan of Swag. But from our trip when we went down for the GOAT's premiere, you're on the phone with dealerships and we stop somewhere, and the talent and, how you perceive yourself and, the way you talk so positive about all the boys we care so much for, the stuff that you're able to get these places donate and, and how you do it, Frank, is absolutely amazing. My hat's off to you, because it is so impressive the amount of stuff that, you places donate when after you get done speaking to them it's so inspiring and inspirational, and it's amazing. It's so cool, all the effort and what you do for all the boys.
When you believe in it, it's fun to sell it. So, and I remember on our trip to the GOAT's premiere, that Harley dealership where the
Roswell, wasn't it?
Roswell, yeah.
Yeah.
I call Roswell. It's kind of sort of on our way. We had to take a little detour to get there, and we were going to get there after they closed. And the marketing manager, yeah, wrong way. We were going to get there after they closed, and the marketing manager told me, okay, I'm going to leave you a bag of stuff in the mailbox, so just stop by and pick it up. And we get there, and there's nothing there. And I'm like, crap, come on, man. We came out of our way. So I was kind of bummed about it, and I didn't let it go. The next morning when the Harley shop opened, I'm on the phone with them, and I'm talking to this lady, and she's like, oh, I totally forgot. I'm going to mail a pack. And I'll be danged if she didn't mail a T-shirt and a poker chip. And I don't know what all else Gavin got, but I made sure that Jessica let me know what it was later on. And she did follow through. So, but I'm kind of relentless that way. It's just kind of fun. And
that was fun. That was an interesting one, finding that dealership. I think we took a few wrong turns, and we got 3 different mapping programs going on 3 different phones. They're all saying different directions. Like, where the hell are we going?
That was, anyway. But yeah, so, and then wrong way reminded me that I went to his place afterward. I got to see where Michael works, and I get there, I pull up on the bike, and you must be here to see Mr. Lamb. It's like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm here to see Mr. Lamb. And the great respect that his coworkers have for that man is incredible, because we all within the Mile Monster community have that very same respect for Michael. So hats off, Mr. Lamb. So, and then from there, I went to the very famous within our world Republic Harley-Davidson. I couldn't be that close and not stop by and tip my hat to those people, because what they do for our organization is phenomenal. If
Very true.
Familiar with the Monster K that we did last year, where they helped us get the motorcycle that we gave away, and then drove it there, let two of the people, the employees of the dealership, spend the weekend on the clock taking this motorcycle to our event in Lebanon, Kansas, was just phenomenal. They sponsored Michael. They sponsored Setzer Pendants, or Iceman, I guess, for the Hoka. Just what they do is incredible. And I like to think that my dealerships out here are the Republic of the Northwest. So, because I get pretty good service and I get pretty good help from them. But I had to stop by Republic and just show my respect there.
And I mean, getting to know you when it comes, like you're talking about East Side, I mean, they really seem like an amazing dealership to deal with, because, I mean, from somebody on the outside looking, you know, like I said, following your stuff, and, you know, we talk somewhat frequently, and, you know, they really have your back and support what you're doing, and I think it's pretty awesome of what they also do. I got to, you know, tip my hat to them.
Yeah, they do. And then I've recently become heavily involved in the hog chapter at Rattlesnake Mountain Harley in Kennewick, Washington. And Rattlesnake stepped up in a huge way also for me. So I actually have a multi-support group. Unfortunately, not in my hometown, but Kennewick is an hour down the road, and East Side is in Bellevue, which is a couple hours. But I have a very good support group of Harley dealerships that have had my back through the whole Hoka process, which I'll talk about in a little bit more in depth. But the sponsorships were incredible for me. I couldn't have done this thing without it. But anyway, but the trip to Florida was from leaving Texas. I met my brother in Mississippi. My brother's from North Carolina. He's a Harley guy. He retired about a year and a half ago from smoking Harley-Davidson. I think you and I have talked about that before. He's what got me into the Harley thing. Most of my adult life, I've gotten Harley stuff for Christmas, you know, shirts and hats and coats and all sorts of merchandise. But October of 2017, I got a 2009 Sportster from my brother. So that's what got me started, 6 years ago, and 280,000 miles ago or something like that. So, or I think I'm closer to 300 now, but it got kind of a crazy ball rolling for me in the Harley culture and the motorcycling aspect. That kind of took off in an unexpected way for me. The long distance riding that I had no clue that I needed in my life, that has kind of become a huge part of my life. So we met in Mississippi, and again, I'm not feeling well. I ended up going to a Medi Center, a urgent care center in Ocean Springs, I think it was, Mississippi, outside of Pascagoula. Again, tested for flu, strep throat, COVID, and everything's negative. Nobody has any idea what I've got going on, so they give me antibiotics just in case. So I just kept going, you know, through all of this. I just kept going. My brother rode with me to Daytona. He was there. Let's see, the Hoka started on Sunday. He stayed with me till Saturday. He had to get back to North Carolina because he and some buddies were riding to Sturgis. So he left, and I stayed. people would come up to me and I'm like, I'm not feeling great. People knew that I didn't feel great. I was trying to kind of stay to myself because I didn't know if I was contagious or not. I just was not quite myself, I don't think. So the morning of the start, Mandy Ingvelson came up to give me a big hug. She and her husband Chad had come to see everybody off. She came up to give me a hug because she was trying to see everybody off in a big way and to give everybody hugs. And I'm like, Mandy, I appreciate it, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm contagious. So we kind of did a fist bump and that was it. And I started the Hoka just kind of in a daze, just not feeling great. And about 30 minutes into it, I mean, this might be too much information, but about 30 minutes into it, the antibiotics were kicking in with the stomach upset. So I had to stop and use the bathroom, which put everybody way, I'm number 1139 and they started with numbers this year. So I wasn't totally at the end of the pack, but by the time I got out of the bathroom and back on the road, I was with Hyde basically, and Hyde was way in the back of the pack, which allowed me to get some really good pictures of an awesome man on an awesome motorcycle. So that's how, if you've seen any of the pictures that I posted of Hyde on day one, that's how I actually was in a position to get that. Just the start of the Hoka for me was just uneventful as far as, I just wish it would have been in different circumstances where I felt better. But I just kept plugging on. That's what you do. You just keep going. So, and then as the day progressed and the weather got crappy, Everybody, at this point, the weather got crappy for us on day 1 and 2. But
you're riding through a hurricane. I mean, holy crap.
Yeah. But, just keep going. And, it was weird. I don't think I started actually feeling good until maybe day 4. Finally, whatever I had kind of got out of my system and I started getting more energy and then I could, ride. I was still riding. I think my day 1, I did 900 and some odd miles through the hurricane. Day 2 was 800 and some odd. So, I still put some miles down, but day 1 was mostly by myself. I caught up with a big group of people. Day 1 in Florida someplace, I don't remember where it was. I know Romway was there. I know Shell was there when I pulled in. And then when I pulled out, there was nobody there. So, because I got in later than everybody else and I slept a little bit longer. So, but I was the only one there when I left. And then later on that day, I caught up with Romway and Raindrop. So we ended up riding together through day 2, through kind of the worst of the hurricane for us, and through Georgia. We went through this one huge pool of water on this highway in Georgia that almost had Raindrop's bike stall on her. So we had to pull into a gas station, and she had to give it some fuel or she accelerated a little bit, idling, fast idle, so she could kind of blow out her carburetor a little bit. But she had a rough time with that because the water was everywhere, and we were all just soaking wet. Climb gear is awesome, fantastic gear. Gore-Tex is mostly waterproof, but when you've got water blowing up under your neck and up your sleeves, everything's soaking wet regardless. So
yeah.
I had water pooled in my elbows. So every time I'd lift my arm, it would just drip down into my pants. Yeah. Gloves were so wet that I finally took them off. So if any of you saw Riot's hands, he had a picture of his hand where it was all pruny looking. My hands looked just like that, except for the Harley gloves that I had. I had little half gloves on at the time. All of the black dye came out of the glove and it was soaked into my hand with that. It was funny. I never took a picture of it. When I saw Riot's picture, I thought, oh, I should have done that. But yeah, that day two was, it was no joke. Windy, rainy. Rain was just relentless. Um, Dodging the. Luckily, we didn't have any animals to dodge. Like some people didn't fare so well with animals, but what we had were lots of water. Yeah, Michael, day two was brutal. You were there. Lots of water, trees down in the road, branches, yeah, power lines. There was a detour that was announced that there were power lines that people had to go around. Luckily, we had already passed that particular area, but yeah, it was just crazy. Not something I think I ever want to really do. We just had a bomb cyclone. I mean, Denver, you know about the bomb cyclone,
Yeah.
your power, but through the Pacific Northwest right now. And there were those, 60, 70 mile an hour winds over on the coast and through Washington, Oregon. And, I thought, wow, that sounds familiar. I don't want to go. So,
Yeah, I think some of the coastal towns right on the coast, they really got the brunt of it. I think there was some excess, just a little over 80. And, we had good gusts here through where I live through the peninsula. We had knocked out power to 40,000 people for 5 to 6 hours that night. And it can blow, that's for sure. And it's one of them things. But like what you're saying, I remember hearing of somebody even hitting an alligator on the highway during the hurricane. It's like, you hear about animals, people, run into a deer. I mean, we had one up here a few months ago. Some people rounded the corner up on Mount Walker on 101 hit a bear. But, then you hear this one to hit an alligator. It's like, that's just not common.
Yeah. Well, you're down in the Okeechobee or you're down in the Everglades and, that water's rising and the alligators have access to the road and,
New territory.
Yeah. But I know going through the Florida Keys, I think it was Isla Morada, when I was riding through that part of the Keys, was the worst thunderstorm I'd ever seen in my life. I was following a boat. I mean, I say that, but it was a boat on a trailer in front of me. But luckily, that I could see the lights on the trailer, but it was pitch black. Lightning flashing all around, but it was just crazy. And then we had a Iowa hog rider. You have tornadoes though, but speaking of tornadoes, I have saved on my phone one of many tornado warnings that would come up on the phone. It would be a flash warning on the phone. Find a safe place because there's a tornado in your area right now. So I guess tornadoes are spawned through hurricanes at times. So never did actually see a tornado. I just kept going. Everybody that rode through it had to get the same warnings because they're just Weather Channel alerts. I mean, if you had the Weather Channel app. So that happened to me at least 4 times. I happened to do a screenshot of one of them and it's on my phone now. But this thunderstorm through Isla Morada was just crazy. Just driving rain that you could hardly see through. And, I'm not smart enough to pull over and stop and wait it out. I'm on the hook. Hey, I could see the lights of the boat trailer in front of me. And that's how I just kept going through it. So following a boat through a hurricane. So that's a story to tell my grandkids.
Very true. And just one of those things, like you just want to ride, just get out of the area. It's like, I don't want to stop. I want to get out of this.
Yeah. And it was through an area where there's no real places. Oh no. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Brad, he busted up his leg. He had surgery and he's casted up. Had a little mishap.
I'm sorry to hear. So, and then following directions, I got into Key West, and Key West was miserable for me. I took a left instead of a right and ended up wasting an hour in Key West just trying to find the stupid buoy for the southernmost point.
I remember seeing a fair amount of people because I was watching Solo and Hopper. I mean, they had a great commentary, the whole Hokahay. I mean, K Solo was freaking amazing. His commentary and watching that, and I remember on there one night, you see a lot of people were making wrong turns in Key West.
Yeah, the instruction said follow Highway 1 down to a certain, you have your odometer miles, so it's at about whatever mileage, and you get into Key West, and there's a light, and then what I did was turned left at that light, but Highway 1 followed to the right, and the correct mileage would have taken me around, another 3 or 4 miles, and I just jumped the gun and turned left right there, and it took me around.
Wasn't there like Highway 1 and Highway 1A or something?
Might have been, yeah.
I remember just that part from Solar talking about it and just, watching, because so many of us are fans, we're sitting here on the sidelines, but, we're watching and trying to follow stuff, and, you backseat coaching.
And then the road that it looped around, I mean, ended up having to come back that way anyway, so I had to ride that road again anyway, but it was washed out. There were signs, road closed, don't enter. We entered it anyway because that was the route. There was about one corner I remember, which ended up only being about 2 blocks from the buoy, that was up to my floorboards of flooded water, so we had to ride through that. So yeah, that was just, I was so sick of Florida. I mean, I don't know how many people in the map that we did, but they had a stacked figure 8 of what we did in Florida, and it was, I don't know how many, 1,200 miles or something, 1,300 miles maybe in just Florida. And
oh, Dylan, that's awesome.
Yeah.
A1A Beachfront Avenue. Now there's a classic.
Is that a song? I don't
yeah.
know. Okay.
Yep.
Shows my genre of music maybe. But they served up lots of grace for the route in Key West. So I ended up doing the correct route, but I had to go back to the start a couple of times. And Shell, thank you, Shell. She kind of told me she didn't tell me what to do, but she said, go back and reread the directions when you first come into Key West and think about it before you do it. So, and I was so frustrated. I was like, but that's stupid. I don't even know where, I was so
that would be me.
Yeah. And she had already figured it out. She and T, where we were riding T, they were riding together at that point. So anyway, yeah, that was the most frustration that I had the whole ride, come to think of it, but I got past it. But the double figure 8 in Florida, me personally, I was so sick of Florida by the time I got out of it that I don't care if I ever go back to Florida. No offense to any Floridians, but I don't know that I ever need to go back. I've seen it all, almost. I was impressed.
Got your fix.
How big that Lake Okeechobee is, though. That was pretty awesome. But anyway,
I've heard it's big. I remember seeing it on some different TV shows and whatnot. It's still an area. I mean, I haven't got experience. I'd love to go down through part. I mean, go to Key West, be cool, see the money, but there's so much stuff. I'd love to do Louisiana, Alabama, there's so much, for me, there's just so much history in the area, and I love history that I would love to be able to spend some time down there and just see some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get to see much, but.
No.
In fact, Shell Fedderson put a post of some tunnel in Alabama or Arkansas or something like that. Who remembers this tunnel? It's like, I have no recollection of this tunnel. And I had to go back to my maps, my Rever map, and to find out if I even was there, because she put a map of where this thing was. I have zero recollection of going through this creepy tunnel that everybody was freaked out about. I still cannot remember the tunnel. I looked at my map. I know that I was there, but I have no recollection of this tunnel. So it's strange. So I have no idea what time of the day I was there. I don't know. But,
well, the stress of the whole thing, I can imagine. I mean, you're riding long hours, day after day. I mean, granted, I could see it. You're towards the beginning of the adventure, but I can imagine not remembering some areas. I'm sure that's got to be, common amongst individuals to take the challenge.
Yeah. But that one was funny. I do remember Oklahoma being just the longest, straightest, hottest portion that never ended. I was with Chris Lumagini and Raindrop through that portion. We went through this little tiny town. Can't tell you the name of the town, but they were getting ready for a rodeo days parade, and they were getting ready to close the street when we get through there. And the streets are lined, people are sitting on the street, and we ride through, and I'm waving like I'm in the parade, hey, how you doing? And they didn't think. I mean, they're Oklahoma. They're there for the rodeo. They don't care about these bikes, motorcycles riding through town. They're like, what?
Oh, come on, you're on a steel horse.
Yeah,
it counts for something.
They weren't amused. I thought it was funny. That was after being on Route 66 for a minute. So, and then we almost did a mistake that I think some people did, where some people made a mistake and rode to Tulsa, and you were supposed to take a left turn or a right turn rather, and go up in the northern part of ride the entire top of Oklahoma out to the Panhandle before New Mexico. And some people made a mistake, and we almost did. I took a turn, and that was one of the times where a paper map saved our butts. So,
riding the flatland.
Oh man, yeah, and it was 105, 106 degrees there. So
yeah, pass.
But sun. I mean, that was probably our first real sunshine after the hurricane. So it did feel good for a minute, but
kind of dry you out a little bit.
Yeah, rain again, please. And then careful what you wish for, because it rained pretty much after that every day. So
now, did you take a tent for your sleep setup for that, or what were you going for your sleep setup?
I did have a tent. A friend of mine from one of my hog chapters here gave me a U.S. Army issued pup tent that fit right over the top of my cot. So I had a cot, tent, sleeping bag. People told me, "Oh, don't take a tent because you'll probably never use it." The one night I did not use my tent was the night in Angel Fire, New Mexico. Luma and I pulled in to a gas station. We found Wrong Way at this gas station. He was just laid out on his cot next to the gas pump, and I pulled up next to him and just crashed sitting on my motorcycle. I just slumped over my tank and slept there. That's the one time I did not use my tent. And funny, Michael will remember this. He woke up in the morning asking me if I threw money on him, because when he woke up in the morning, there was change, like coins on him. Like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything like that. So somebody came during the night and fueled up and threw change on Wrong Way as he was sleeping right before someone came. Yeah, that's right. But we thought that was kind of hilarious. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if they thought he was homeless or what. So
here's some money for your troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wrong Way. I wake up covered in coins. Now that's funny.
And then we rode together for a while, and it's funny. I keep saying it's funny. It's not really funny. It's strange how things work out. I set out on the Hoke with no intentions of. I had no real set schedule or no set mindset of how I wanted to do this. I figured I would ride alone. I didn't plan on riding with anybody, but I kept meeting people. Wrong Way was. We hooked up probably 3 or 4 different times until the last time we ended up riding the end of it. I think we rode 5-6 days together to the end. But through that, through the middle of it, we would ride for a while and then get separated and then ride again. We'd come up on each other again and then ride again. And I did that with Lumagini. I did that with Raindrop. But I didn't technically spend a heck of a lot of time riding alone except for that first day. So a little bit around Lumagini and I were riding together through Arizona, New Mexico, and he and I got he was following me and I made a wrong turn. That was our worst wrong turn. It was 50 miles out of the way. We were going towards Winslow, Arizona, and we should have been going towards Flagstaff. So it was a 50-mile one-way wrong turn that we had to then turn around and go back the other way in a thunderstorm.
Into the corner of Winslow, Arizona, Frank?
Almost, yeah. We didn't make it all the way. What's funny is, funny again, I keep saying that. We had just gone right past Winslow on a little tiny interstate excursion. Yeah, I'll get to that. Brad, me and Wrongway and Brad Lupnitz, Logic, were a great team. But this one time where Luma and I we had just ridden by Winslow, and then the loop, we were coming right back up, and then the wrong turn took us back up towards Winslow. It was midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, a thunderstorm, heavily wooded area, lots and lots. I think I counted 19 or 20 deer, some of them actually on the road that we had to slow down for. And we went 50 miles through this and then had to turn around and go 50 miles back through this again. And we're like, oh, crud, what did we just do? But we made it. We survived. We didn't hit any of these deer that we just had to go back and, bother again. And then we by the time we got through Flagstaff and up to, it was about 50 miles south of the Grand Canyon, I just couldn't go anymore. I was so tired. And Chris was, he was still fairly fresh. He wanted to keep going. So we fueled up, and I was like, I'm going to just camp out right here. And I can't go anymore. So he kept going, and I slept. And then that next day, I ended up riding again by myself until right after what would have been the Moki Dugway. But I followed the detour for the Moki Dugway because the Moki Dugway was technically closed. Wrongway ended up riding it intentionally. He knew it was closed. He knew it was bypassed and detoured, but he wanted to ride it anyway. Crazy. Yeah. Anyway.
SOB.
Yeah, one of those. He just wanted to ride it. And I didn't know I had the option. I would love to ride the Moki Dugway at one point in my life. I've never ridden it, but, not technically when it's, going to perhaps take my life, but
yeah,
wrong ways on a different level. And some people didn't get the message that it was detoured either. So Raindrop rode it, and she actually went down on it. So after the detour took me around on this little highway that the Moki Dugway comes out on, and I was just wanting to get off the bike for a minute. So I stopped to take a picture, and this bike goes blowing past me, and it's wrong way. So he stops, he recognizes me, and he stops, and we ended up riding together. Then that might have been the last time we got together. We might have stayed together the rest of the time from there, but that was in Utah. So after Monument Valley, and then we get to, we rode to the checkpoint in Green River, Wyoming. Another torrential rainstorm up on this big mountain pass near the gorge, the Flaming Gorge. Behind the dam, between Vernal, Utah, and Rock Springs, or where Flaming Gorge is. What is that? I forgot the name of the town now.
That's Wyoming. I know. I just went through there a month ago.
Yeah, I know the town.
I think it's Flaming Gorge.
Flaming Gorge, the Harley dealership is in Green River. Thank you.
There we go.
Myself, I just remembered it. So between Vernal, Utah, and Green River, Wyoming is this little mountain pass. Fun. I mean, there's switchbacks and stuff going up this mountain. It was fun going up because the rain hadn't started yet. But by the time we got to the top, it was just pouring rain. We get up there. There's free range cattle up on the road. So we had to maneuver around the cattle during this really big thunderstorm. Michael ended up taking a wrong turn, and I'm trying to call him. We had no signal. It's like I'm flashing my lights and he's gone. So I thought, well, I'm waiting here. It's raining. I'm sitting here on the side of the road in pouring rain. So he'll get the message, I'm just going to go to the dealership and we'll catch up there. So I did.
Wrong way took a wrong turn?
That was one of his very few. He was amazing on this particular one. So I got to the Flaming Gorge. I mean, beautiful ride. I mean, it was nice. The dam there, the lake, the reservoir, I would love to do that in more favorable circumstances, but we got to the dealership. Romway comes in, 10 minutes, 15 minutes after I do. And to celebrate, let's see, Jessica and Victor were there and their daughter. That was one of the cool things is Jessica and Victor were there to meet the Mile Monster riders, but they were also kind of manning the checkpoint too. So they had little packets for those of us that were Mile Monsters, a card, just of encouragement and little trinkets. And that was really cool. So to Jessica and Victor, that was really cool. But their daughter, I know the name. I can't remember the name.
I can't either.
Yeah, Michael, help me out here if you can. Anyway, their daughter was the shuttle driver basically for people that needed stuff. So Michael and I, Sierra, thank you, Sierra Marie. Michael and I celebrated our halfway point because this was the second checkpoint by having Sierra Marie take us to a truck stop up the road, Love's Truck Stop, and we got our first shower of the event. So not together, but
I was going to say, I hope it was separate, but
yeah.
Hey, whatever works for you.
The truck stop shower was a nice welcome relief, and then got a decent night's sleep. And Raindrop was there by the time we woke up in the morning, and Raindrop ended up riding with us from that point. We rode into South Dakota. I thought it was cool. We went up into South Dakota and then way kind of east out to the Wounded Knee, not really battlefield, but massacre site, and then turned around and then went back into Deadwood. And now I mentioned before that my brother met me and he had to leave on that Saturday because he was going to Sturgis. The house that he and his friends were renting was in Deadwood, and it was 2 blocks off of our route. So he was still there by the time that me and Michael and Raindrop got to Deadwood. So we were able to stop there. Raindrop was able to take a shower while I caught up, visiting with my brother and his buddies with Michael. So that was kind of cool and it
was cool.
Like I said, it didn't take us any time. It was 2 blocks off the route. So we got to sit there and visit for a minute and get back on the road. And then being from this area, I knew what was coming because I could see on the directions that we were going to be traveling to Belfouche and then 212 over to the Bighorn Battlefield. And 212, I've ridden at night before, and this was dark now. And I've seen the wildlife that's on 212. And I don't know if you've ever ridden that, Denver.
I have. Actually, last year when Amy and I were over there, when we did a big Devil's Tower loop with Springer Mike.
Was it nighttime?
No, daytime.
All right. Nighttime is a whole different animal because that's all you see is. I lost count of how many deer that we saw. I was texting with Raindrop, and she was so freaked out. She said, I've never seen this many deer on any road I've ever ridden anywhere in the country. And so,
that and antelope.
Welcome to Montana. But yeah, and I was leading. I've got Denali D7 Pro lighting, so I'm lighting the road, and that's part of it too. When you don't have great lighting, you kind of ride blissfully ignorant. You don't know what's there. When you can see everything, it's like there's one, there's 2. If I had both arms, I was doing that. Both of my legs were out. I was trying to point to everything. I would flash. I've got strobes. I can do flashing.
Mm-hmm.
The hurricane took my horn out. So if I honked my horn, it would strobe. So I was doing that. I was strobing with my horn. You couldn't hear the horn, but you could still see the strobes from my headlights. But there was so much wildlife there. Raindrops started getting very dangerously sleepy there, so we ended up pulling off the road. Michael goes blowing past me and then pulls off, So it's like, we need to stop here for a minute. So Raindrop had to get a little bit of life back because she was getting really, really tired. And we made it up the road to a really nice restaurant. It ended up being a nice place to sleep. Covered area. There was a couple other guys there. So we ended up sleeping for a few hours. Got going the next morning to Billings. And then this is where Brad Lipnitz comes in. Logic. We're in a gas station in Billings, Montana. And I'm buying a pickle. Those of us that ride know that pickles are awesome. So,
pickle.
Yeah. And he's like, I bet I know what that's for. Or something to that effect. Or I think I just bought one too, or something like that. And he ended up, obviously he's riding. His bike is outside, and definitely obvious he's a hook-a rider. And we get to talking, and he's like, hey, mind if I tag along with you guys for a minute? And it's me, Michael, and Raindrop at that point. So, yeah, come on. And we get going, and that's where things got a little bit wonky for us, because the four of us missed the fact that whatever Montana highway we were on, we'll call it 78. Michael might correct me if he remembers the actual road, but if it was Highway 78, you're supposed to follow the highway in all of its turns, and we missed one of its turns, and we kept going straight when we should have turned left to follow the actual highway number. So we were cruising along on now a totally different Montana back highway, back country road, basically. 70-mile-an-hour speed limit, beautiful road. I mean, nice curves and little hills up and down, cruising along until all of a sudden we get to this one hill, still cruising, and the bottom of the hill, there's nothing but rocks. I mean, it's not gravel, it's rock, and it's deep rock. And Michael goes blazing into it. Michael's in the lead, Raindrop, Brad, and then me. Michael somehow is able to hold it. You hear him tell the story. He just pulled the clutch in. He knew he was going to crash. He just wanted to be as slow as possible when he did. Raindrop wasn't so lucky. If you've seen her story, if you've seen her bike or pictures, she went into a death wobble trying to correct, and she ended up crashing. Brad and I were able to see this happening in front of us, and we were able to slow down and control our stops before we went down. But Raindrop was seriously injured. She totaled her bike. I think I've got the details. I think she broke 5 ribs, her shoulder blade, and her collarbone. The very next vehicle to come up the road, luckily, was an RN in the vehicle, and she took over the scene immediately. She was awesome. She got EMTs there, and it's funny. They're like, "Well, which one of these guys is your husband?" Talking to Raindrop, and Raindrop's like, "None of them." It's like, "Okay, well, who's going to be coming with you?" It's like, "None of them." And we had to explain, we're not necessarily together. We're doing the same ride, the same route, but not traveling together. And it was kind of hard for them to understand. So
yeah, we're a family of a different sort.
Yeah, but that was tough. And Brad Lipnitz had experienced another crash with in the Keys. She was on the Monsters Over Mountains last year.
Dell,
thank you. Man, my mind. Yeah, Dell had gotten hit by somebody, and Mike and Brad was there for that. And Brad was the one who actually called Beth from the Hoka about Julie Raindrop's crash in our case. And he said, well, this isn't the first one of these calls I've had to make, because he mentioned that he was the one who called Beth for Dell's crash as well. So after that day, Brad kind of kept riding with me and Michael after we kept going. After we got Raindrop, made sure she was safe and made sure she was taken care of, and got all of her belongings, including one that shouldn't have been there that we won't go into. But we got that all taken care of and knew that she was going to be taken care of. She was loaded in the ambulance, and then we got on the way. And Brad stayed with us for till the end of the Hoka after that. And it was funny. He's in talking with him. He's like, I rode several days with different people, and I never found people that I had the same riding style, or, I'll stay with you guys until, it works or it doesn't work, and we'll see how it goes. And Brad and I crossed the finish line seconds apart. So Michael had the fuel stop before Homer, Hippie, and Deadman happened to be there, and Michael ended up cruising off a little bit faster than Brad and I were going. So Michael crossed the finish line just minutes before me and Brad, but Brad Lipnitz and I crossed like seconds apart. But riding with those two guys made a huge difference, especially up into Canada, Yukon, out in the middle of nowhere. Having somebody to rely on is huge. So I don't envy the people that did that alone. Having a support was awesome.
Just brutal.
Yeah. And we had some interesting times. We had some fun, and we were all pretty much the same schedule. We rode till we were tired and slept until we woke up. We had no set schedule of any sort, and we all kind of woke up at the same time when we did go to sleep, and it was kind of funny.
Well, you kind of let your body tell you when, okay, I'm tired, cool, I'm going to sleep, and then you let your body let you know when, hey, I'm rejuvenated, let's go.
Yeah.
And a smart way, instead of trying to, I can see you trying, sleep a few hours here, but then you're in a way leaving yourself fatigued. So let your body control it and get the rest you need and ride safe.
Yeah. And at no time did I ever feel like I was pushing it. I've heard a lot of people say, they rode till they just dropped and couldn't ride anymore. I had that one incident not really an incident, but that one time in Arizona Arizona, the Grand Canyon, where I physically felt if I would have kept going, I would have crashed or I would have fallen asleep, and it would have been dangerous for me. That's the only time that occurred for me. But I stopped before I got to the point of sheer exhaustion where I just had to I couldn't move anymore type thing. That was the only time that occurred. The whole rest of the time, I listened to my body and to the other two guys too, because we were a team at that point, basically. We all had the same agenda. Neither of us knew, we weren't trying to race to the finish line. My goal always from day one was I would like to make it there on the 12th day. So that was always in the back of my mind. I'd like to make it there on the 12th day. I didn't want to be there on day 10. I didn't want to be, elite finisher. That was all just irrelevant to me. My goal was 12 days. So I think our actual elapsed time for me and Brad was 11 days, 10 hours. So made that goal.
It's pretty good. I mean, honestly, that's a great finish.
Yeah. I'm very, very pleased with that. I had 3 goals. One was my fundraising goal. I had for Mile Monsters was $5,000. I think I'm currently at about 5,300. The other goal was to make it to the finish line safely in 12 days. I did that. And the other one was to be home. My birthday was August 22nd, and I wanted to be home for my birthday, and I got home on August 21st. So I made all 3 of my major goals for it. So for me, it was a fantastic personal triumph. I made all of my goals. I'm stoked. I'm ecstatic for that. So.
Well, and you still made it for dinner for your wife's birthday too, so that was good too.
Yeah, I had to bail on you guys, but so I could tell that story.
Hey, there's no hard feelings whatsoever. I mean, I remember calling like Frank. Just I know the importance of doing, After the Hoka you went home, then you came up here to do Monsters Over Mountains, and then your body, I can imagine, was fatigued. You're like, it's my wife's birthday, and Frank, go home. Oh, I gotta finish. No, Frank, and then you call me. I'm going home. Like, smart move, man.
Yeah,
Smart move,
let me
buddy.
tell the rest of the story, Mr. Paul Harvey here. I knew it was my wife's birthday. My wife's birthday is August 24th, and intellectually, I knew that. And I knew that I was going to ride the Hoka, and then the weekend after, I was going to ride Monsters Over Mountains. So I got home on the 21st, and then I was home Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. I had to go get my bike serviced, and then Eastside Harley-Davidson had a little thing for me in the evening. So I ended up not getting to Denver's house. Me, Michael, and my buddy Malcolm got to your house, at like 9, 10 o'clock through driving rain again. I mean, relentless. So Saturday morning, we leave for the Hoka again in driving rain. Some people, won't mention any names, didn't even try to attempt riding. At least attempted.
For the Monsters Over Mountains.
For Monsters Over Mountains.
Yeah, yes. Somebody turned around 40 miles in. We won't talk about runaway.
And other people bailed, 100 miles in or 200, whatever it was. So
true.
It was miserable. I mean, and
it was
through misery, but I still had to go that way anyway. So I figured I'd go. And we go to my hometown, Yakima. We have lunch at a place. But on the way there, I was going to meet these guys at the restaurant where we were going to have lunch. And I had forgotten my sleeping bag. Second year in a row, I forget my sleeping bag at Denver's house for the Monsters of the Mountains. So I asked my wife if she would meet me at my dad's house, which is right off the highway, and bring me a sleeping bag. And she did. So I go there. Hi, honey. I'm just here. Hi, bye, kiss. And then my son was there too. She'd brought him. He's like, Dad, what about happy birthday? And I'm like, just white. It's like, I forgot. At the moment, I had forgotten it was her birthday. I didn't say a word. When I called her to see if she would bring me the sleeping bag, when I was there, I kissed her. I did not remember at all that it was her birthday. Now, when I mentioned this story on Facebook, I got some guff from Amy Walsh Wyatt. She's like, you're not supposed to say stuff like that when you forget, but I'm an open book. I did something incredibly stupid. My wife put up with me through the whole Hoka. I haven't been home this year much at all. Practicing for the Hoka for me was every weekend. I'd leave work on a Friday, on every Friday basically. I'd go to work that Friday morning or on Friday morning with my bike packed up, and I wouldn't come home until Saturday night, sometimes Sunday morning, because I would go out just riding. I would use things like the Pacific Northwest Grand Tour sites, Tour of Honor sites, different hog challenge sites, just going out and finding different places that I could ride to, and then places to sleep. So for 6 months before the Hoka, I was never home. The Hoka itself, I'm gone the entire month of August basically. And now I get home, and then I miss her birthday, and she deserved way better than that. So I admit that I was a total jerk. So anyway, I'm managing.
Hey, but you, we made it down to Oregon. Like, I've got to turn around, and I remember, on the phone with you, I'm like, Frank, that's a smart move.
Yep.
Go home. I mean, I know how much doing this means to you. I said, but
we kept riding.
I understood 100%, and I think it was a very smart move for you. Yep. Two friends talking. That was the correct decision from a guy that's been married not as long as you, 24 years this year, but that was a very smart move.
We just had our 37th anniversary a couple of days ago. Actually, the day of my surgery.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, I rode another 2-3 hours to Pendleton, and the whole time I'm thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. So when I finally told you I was going to turn around, I called her. I called my 3 sons, made sure they were going to be home. Looked at my timing. I knew I could get home before midnight, and the place that sells her favorite cake was still open, so I was able to stop and get Tres Leches cake. My wife is Mexican, so I was able to get her a couple slices of tres leches cake, and we had an impromptu birthday party that night for her. But yeah, I did feel bad about ditching you guys, but not bad enough to not be there.
No, I'm 100%. But I think on the other flip side is what we got to also give props to, like we were talking about before we went online, to Eastside Harley-Davidson, because your bike was being serviced. So they gave you a loaner bike to go ride and do Monsters Over Mountains. So, you're going on a 1,500 plus mile journey after you just rode 16,000 plus miles, and they gave you a loaner bike. Here, Frank, go. And I think that's pretty freaking amazing of a dealership to step up to the plate and to continue to support your adventures. And I just want to give, props to Eastside Harley, because that is pretty amazing of a dealership to do what they did to you, so you can continue doing what you enjoy and doing the stuff that we all enjoy to help the boys.
Yeah, that was amazing. I don't know that I would get that. Well, I know of one dealership maybe that I would get that, but yeah, I'm so sorry, Alan. But Republic would probably do that, I think. But Eastside is just that level of service. So,
yeah, like you said, I mean, they've taken amazing care of you and really stepped up to the plate to support your adventures. Because, again, we were been BSing for a while before we went live, and you're riding a bike that's only a couple years old, and you're coming up on 200,000 miles on that bike alone. And you look at the amount of people that might have a bike that's not quite 3 years old. You're amazing, Frank. The amount of riding you do and everything you do is, it's pretty freaking amazing. And it's a lot of fun for me to follow your adventures, and it's also, honored to be your friend and, and help you and complete with these adventures, and also to get to spend the time to ride with you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've had some fun rides. I got to show you a couple new roads before I bailed on you too. So,
hey, and that one that highway outside of Goldendale, that is the Bickerton Highway. Bickerton? Yeah, that was pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like you were talking about, on the Hoka when you guys came across was the livestock. I think back to when we were doing the Monster 100. We're going up over Dead Man's Pass and running into the wild freaking horses, and all of a sudden coming around a corner I got no rear brakes, and we're clipping along at a very good pace, and like, oh shit, there are horses in the road. But I got amazing footage of that on my GoPro, because I actually had the camera going.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, we actually had the cattle too on Chief Joseph Highway.
I haven't been on Chief Joseph.
No, we did, because we came that way down Lewiston to Enterprise, Hell's Canyon. There was a herd of cattle, I remember, on that road also as we were clipping along.
Going like to Enterprise from Minotone?
From Lewiston, Clarkston.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful ride. I guess, although my daughter says it's not as good in the wintertime.
Rattlesnake grade, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of my Hoka practice was doing that at 2:00 in the morning. That was fun.
Like you said, thank God for good lighting.
Yeah. Yeah. Denali D7 Pros. And that I mentioned that I would talk a little bit about my sponsorships and not being able to do this ride without them. I got D7 Pros. Denali. I didn't realize that Hoka Riders got a discount from Denali anyway. So I contacted them personally to see if they would give me a discount. And I got a better discount than they were giving the normal Hoka. So it pays to reach out. Just hint, hint, hint.
Very nice.
Don't settle sometimes. So I got a discount on the light pods, and then some friends of mine they're hog members in Wenatchee, Washington. They own a lighting store. It's Lake Chelan Lighting. And they had mentioned early on when I first got accepted into the Hoka, they told me that they'd be willing to sponsor me somehow. Just think about how I wanted to use the sponsorship. I'm like, man, I need lighting. What better way to sponsor me than pitch in for my lights? So they pitched in all right. They paid everything that was left except for about $40. So I got
Dang,
D7,
that's awesome.
the Can Smart, and the mounting brackets, and my out of pocket was $40. So
That's pretty impressive. I mean, I know the co-lights that I went with that my son got me for Christmas when we did. Well, I mean, after you had to go home, even Steve had. I don't remember what Denali's he was running. There were smaller ones,
D4s.
and he was they might have been D4s because we were going down through 395. Well, not quite the John Day yet, which the fires were still smoldering. It was getting dark and raining, which I didn't even like because it's like just a recipe for a landslide, in my opinion. I mean, those hills were pretty steep, and he's like, dude, why don't you go in front? He's like, I think your lights are brighter than mine. And, I mean, the more lighting you can have at night, it's just a blessing. But then for me, it's also even if you want to ride with them in the daytime, you're going to increase your visibility, but you're also going to get seen better. And to me, it's just a huge safety factor both ways, whether nighttime or daytime.
Yeah. It worked out well for us because riding with Michael and with Brad, the hurricane took out Michael's D7s. So he didn't have auxiliary lighting for the challenge, basically.
Yeah, because we fixed him when he got to my house. He's like, he started pulling off and he starts talking some serious automotive tech. I'm going to put a relay here. And he's like, have me hold the wire. I'm going to jump this over here. I'm like, what the hell? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm somewhat mechanically inclined, but he's at a whole nother level. And no, he was right. He was able to, jump a relay here to this and bing, they're working. I'm like, cool. Because I had no idea what you did, but that's pretty awesome. You fixed it. And, it got him by until he could get home.
Yeah. I did a lot of nighttime leading because of those lights, and they are life-saving. Even Julie, Raindrop, liked to lead at night, but she had me still shine my brights on, and she just moved her mirrors out of the way. So,
and I remember the first year when we started Monsters Over Mountains, I was talking with Ride. He's like, I don't care how many people you got. He goes, turn your mirrors. He goes, have every person that's riding with you with everything they got. He goes, because it's just going to make everybody be able to see better. I'm like, that's smart.
Yeah, that was us.
Good thinking.
On the Monsters Over Mountains on 2 from Libby, Montana to Sandpoint.
Yeah, well, in the first year when we had to kind of gain some mileage because of road conditions, we went to Ritzville to go down 395. I remember at one point we were like 5 wide down a 4-lane highway with everybody lighting everything up. Get to a car, get back, and then it's fog line to fog line over 2 lanes of everybody.
Yeah. But I had I got to mention some other people if you don't mind me taking a minute.
No, absolutely, man.
East Side was huge. I do get my bike service there. Tires, they gave me a rear tire, actually two rear tires. They gave me one before the Hoka and one after. Rattlesnake Mountain Harley-Davidson. When I talked to their GM before, this was like in February or March, I asked if they would be interested in, this is my hog chapter, my main hog chapter now. I'm also a member in 2 other chapters, but this is the one where I'm most active in right now. Rattlesnake, they asked me what I needed, and at that time I had no gear really, so I told them I needed good gear, and they said, well, what do you want? And I told them, well, a Badlands jacket and I forget which climb pants I wanted, but
do you have the Latitude?
Latitude, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That particular combination, because I'd heard good things about that combination. They bought it for me. They ordered it that afternoon. So I got my climb jacket, my climb gear from them. The field group, if anybody had followed me, I had a whole marketing campaign done up by me. I work in a print shop, so one of my customers is the field group marketing company. They did my Riding for Kids website. I have a logo for Riding for Kids. I had flyers and posters and all kinds of stuff that I had. The website is still active now. They do the hosting for me and everything on it. So that website was awesome. It had my tracker on it, so people that didn't want to watch the whole okay, hey, could just click on my tracker and see where I was. My wife used it, so it had my fundraisers on it. So that one was pretty cool. Um, on my way to Florida to Daytona, I knew I needed fresh tires and I needed an oil change. And my brother, being in the Harley industry with his dealership, had a friend in Emerald Coast Harley-Davidson in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and I knew the guy Gus. He and I'd ridden with my brother one time in Sturgis, and Gus was there, and I got to know him a little bit there. I called Gus sometime last year and mentioned the Hoka, and he said, "Yeah, whatever you need, just let me know." And I said, "Well, I'm going to need tires and an oil change, so I have to buy it somewhere. I might as well buy it from you because you're only 2-3 hours from Daytona." He said, "Nope, I got you covered. Just come and we'll take care of you." So on my way to Daytona, I was able to stop there and get my tires and oil change. So that was awesome. So lots of miscellaneous stuff. Loco can attest to the fact that when he and I were at the Spokane Motorcycle Show last year with Mile Monsters with Riot, I got rock straps. He had just been over talking to the lady from Rock Straps, and she's like, "Oh, we can't give you anything." And I went over there and I came back with rock straps that they just given me. He was like, "How the heck did you get that? I just talked to her." And it's like, "Well, I don't know. They just gave it to me." Not really. I was over talking to the lady, and come to find out she rides the exact same paint scheme 21 Road King that I have. So we had something in common. So
got a bond.
Yeah. And then Cruise Tools, I went over with Loco to the guy from Cruise Tools, and we got the Harley toolkit, the one that ties, tied with a string.
Yeah.
It's got every tool that you could need pretty much for a roadside repair on a Harley-Davidson. We got those for, I think it was $75. They sell for $150, so it was like half price. So
those guys are pretty cool. I got to meet those guys when I was at Law Tigers up at the Oyster Run. They were set up literally at, tents bordered, and they were right there with us. And no, those guys were super cool.
Common bond there was the guy that I talked to went to college with my nephew. So, it pays.
Oh, dang. There you go.
Yeah. So, and then, all kinds of little stuff. I can't even remember it all. All the stickers are on my bike, and my bike is at home. So I'd have to go out to my bike and see. But just people came out of the woodwork to support me. Hog members that for the several months up leading to the Hoka Hey, I would go to a hog meeting. There was this one guy, every time he would shake my hand, there'd be $100 bill in it, So James, it was cool. So, and then
that's cool. The support, the network of people you had, the friendships you built, and the people that get to know you, that understand the passion you have for what you're doing.
Yeah. And the quilt, my boss made me a quilt that I did last Christmas. I mean, this went way back. I mean, I was starting early. I did the quilt raffle,
Mm-hmm.
$20 for a tank of fuel. Basically, it was tanks a lot was what I did the thing. I made $1,800 with people donating for the quilt. So, and that's
pretty cool.
Basically, fuel for the ride. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So, if you're interested in doing the Hoka Hey at some point, don't give up on asking people for help, because people will surprise you. I didn't deserve any of this, but I made it, and it was awesome. I wouldn't have done it without talking to a guy in Portland, Oregon, at a hog, what was it? Rock training, regional officer connection training.
Mm-hmm.
He had ridden the first couple of Hoka Heys, and I was like, wow, he's the first person I actually, besides Riot, I think, that was an actual Hoka Hey finisher. And I was like, how did you do it? How could you afford it? And he's like, well, I got people to help me. And his business donated his entry fee. And I'm like, wow. I ended up talking to my employers here at Abbott's, and that's my other sponsors. They paid my entry fee. So, and they gave me a month off of work, when I get 3 weeks vacation. So it just kind of worked out. So
yeah, the support that you had, is pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. If I'm on my bike, it's for mile monsters. If you follow me on social media, this is my first week that my fourth week this year. I think that I'm not going to get my 500 mile weekly scoot in for mile monsters, but I had the first week of January of this year, I was able to ride 500 miles, and then we had snow, and I rode, but I couldn't get 500 miles until February, the first week of February. And for 43 consecutive weeks, I've had at least 500 miles. And if you're familiar with Mile Monsters, we have mileage challenges, and one of them is called a weekly scoot. So if you ride 500 miles in a week, you pay $15 and you get 1,007 points. So I've been doing that. I just submitted my 43rd consecutive, and now with my surgery, I had carpal tunnel surgery on Friday. That I was telling Denver before the show that on Monsters Over Mountains 2023, after that ride, my thumb, index finger, and middle finger went numb, and I couldn't shake it off, and I hadn't been able to shake it off until my surgery Friday. So my fingers have been numb for a year. It is work related for me. I work in printing, and I'm always jogging and squeezing and handling paper. So I've been working with Washington State Labor and Industries Department on getting this claim, and trying to get an appointment with a surgeon. It's taken a year to get that done, but it just got done on Friday. But this is my first week in 43 weeks that I won't get that weekly scoot done, and I'm a little bit bummed, but I'll be on the bike fairly soon. They tell me. Some friends, Michael included, have gone through it and tell me that better days are on the way. So,
well, I'm sure Wrong Way's happy he can get a couple extra miles to try to catch up.
Yeah, it's Frankie Lamb. Frankie Lamb is the competition this year.
Oh, is he? Nice.
Yeah, she's a monster. She's taken over the 364 days next year. She and a friend.
Yeah, the 365.
Oh yeah, because it's 366 this year.
Yeah, I remember watching the deal. She has some friends that even have a snowplow, so that if it snowed, they would plow. She could go behind the snowplow.
Yeah.
That is some dedication.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Loco. I mean, when Loco said he would do this thing, and I know where he lived, it's like, are you stupid? It's like, that's why I would love to do the commitment for 52 weekly scoots, but I know I can't guarantee I can get 500 miles.
Right.
Not here.
Yep.
So.
Very true.
Yeah. But I would love somebody to do that challenge. That would be fun.
That would be.
43-week streak.
Hey, that's impressive in its own, man. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. That's an easy one, though. I mean, most people that ride every day, if you look at your mileage, you're over 500 miles. I mean, that's really not that hard to do. So.
Yeah.
In the winter in the Pacific Northwest, that's a little bit different story. But yeah.
Yeah, Mother Nature could throw a hamper in, that's for sure.
Yeah. To get mine this last week, I knew I wasn't going to be able to ride. I figured Eastside was supposed to come and pick up my bike on Wednesday because I was going to be down this week, and then the bomb cyclone came through the Pacific Northwest and shattered that illusion. But to be able to get my 500 miles before my surgery, I did it all last Friday. So I did it's called a mini monster ride, or mini hero ride. I'm sorry. Mini monster is doing an M.
Yeah.
Michael's good at those. But I did a mini hero ride. So it was 507. I did 509 on Saturday last week. So just to get make sure I had my 500 miles. And then, of course, by the time the week was over, I think I had 700 miles. So I did some extras. But
no, of course.
I'm still riding. If my arm is able to ride and there's no snow on the ground, I've got heated everything. So including Ken Phoenix heated boot liners. So I'm on the road if I can ride. And
you're bougie.
I ride an hour and a half before work usually. So I've done 200 miles before work, honestly, before.
That's awful early.
Yeah, tell me about it. I work at 6 in the morning too. So
Yeah.
but,
That
but
is an
right now I
early
got
one.
to be careful because there's heavy frost and there's 3 weeks. Don't tell me that, Michael. Well, we'll see what happens. Michael says he's off the bike for 3 weeks
Yeah.
with his hand surgery
With each hand.
for each
Yee.
one. Yeah. Right now I'm just doing the right. We'll see if I need the left later.
Yeah. Well, let it heal, right? So everything ends up good and you'll be good.
You said Iowa
So,
Hog Rider Brad. Is that his name?
yeah.
Okay. Bye, Brad. Thanks for hanging.
See you, Brad. Hey, have a happy Thanksgiving yourself. So, well, shoot, Frank, thanks for coming and hanging out tonight and sharing some adventures. It's always fun catching up, and I enjoy this. For me, this is so much fun getting to hang out and talk with all the friends and hear stories and share stories and just talk about adventures. Why I started this, and I just enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah, it's never a problem, man. I like this stuff. A little too much, my wife says. But
Yeah, I understand. So, hey, well, thanks everybody for tuning in this weekend. It's been a fun day. It's going to be 2 weeks before the next one because we kind of, with all the extended families we have, we got Thanksgiving going from Thursday through Sunday. So I won't be here next weekend, but we'll be back the following weekend. So you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. Hope everything turns out well. Enjoy the family times. Frank, thanks so much for coming and hanging out tonight. I always enjoy your company and enjoy your friendship.
all right, you too, man. Thanks, everybody.
All right, buddy. Thank you.